A Delta-class freighter isn't pretty to look at, but it can be adapted to carry most anything, and occasionally even to carry it profitably. So when I saw one I didn't recognize sitting under the gantry at Helmholtz Spaceport, I hurried right over to operations. It looked as if I might be able to get my Gasha route off planet before it started to spoil after all. It was the Delta Crucius, they told me. She was a tramp, and she hadn't yet been signed for a cargo. The skipper was listed as his own agent. They told me where they thought I could find him, so I drifted over to the spaceport bar and looked around. I found my man quickly enough. He had the young old look of a deep spacer. He wore a neat but threadbare blue uniform, with the 4 broad gold rings of command, rather tarnished, on each sleeve. He had a glass of Rial, a liquor that was too potent for my taste, in front of him at 10 o'clock in the morning, and that wasn't a good sign. But he looked sober enough. So I picked up a large schooner of beer at the bar and strolled over to his table in the far corner away from the window. "Mind if I join you?" I asked casually. "I hate to drink alone." He stared at me for a minute out of those pale blue spacer's eyes of his, until I figured he thought he had me cataloged. Then he motioned me to the chair across from his at the small table. We sat for a few minutes in silence, sizing each other up. "That's a mighty nice-looking freighter out there on Pad 7, I said at last. "Yours?" He uncapped his glass, took a sip of Rial, snicked the cover back, and let the heady stuff evaporate in his mouth. He breathed in sharply in the approved manner, but he didn't even shudder. He just nodded slowly, once. That appeared to pass the conversational ball back to me. "I might have a cargo for you, if you can handle it," I said. "I hear these Delta-class ships can manage almost anything, but this is a rough one. The Annabelle is the only ship in the area built to take my stuff, and she's grounded with transposer troubles." He cocked one sandy eyebrow at me. I interpreted this to be a request for the nature of my cargo, so I told him, and let him ponder about it for a while. "Gosh, a root," he said at last, and nodded once. Yeah, I can handle it. That'll be easy for Delta Crucius. Like you said, she can handle anything. Her last cargo was a live elephant." We completed our deal without much trouble. He drove a hard bargain, but a fair one, and he had plenty of self-confidence. He signed a contingent unsatisfactory delivery contract, and that's unusual for a ship that's handling Gasha. Hadn't thought I'd be so lucky. Gasha is tricky stuff. We went over to the government office to complete the deal. Customs arrangements, notarizations, posting bonds, and so forth. But we finally signed the contract, all legal and binding. His name turned out to be Bart Hanna. Then, by unspoken consent, we went back to the bar. It was afternoon by that time, so I had a scotch, and then I had another. I was so relieved to have found a ship for my cargo that I didn't even think about lunch. I got more and more mellow and talkative as time went by, but the skipper just sat there, breathing Rial. He didn't seem to change a bit. Something had been bothering me, though, and I finally figured out what it was. So I stopped talking about my farming troubles and asked Captain Hanna a direct question. "You say you carried an elephant?" I asked. "A live elephant? In a spaceship?" He nodded. "It's an animal," he said. "A very large animal, from Earth." "I know all about that," I said. "We're civilized here. We're not just a bunch of back-planet hicks, you know. We study all about the home planet at school. But why and how would anyone take an elephant into space?" He stared at me for a while, then took a deep breath and let it out slowly. "I'll tell you,"